What happens when a child becomes too ugly to love? I was 21 when some random woman messaged me on Facebook claiming to be my sister Lori, who burned to death when she was 3. I almost blocked this psycho immediately, but then she sent a photo that made me forget to breathe. In the photo, she was holding the exact teddy bear I had put in Lori's casket 15 years ago. This woman's face was covered in nasty burn scars that looked like melted plastic. Her message said, "I know this sounds crazy, but I need you to know I am alive." I actually agreed to meet her at a Starbucks downtown because I needed to know if I was losing my mind. We sat in the corner and she pulled out this folder that pretty much destroyed everything I thought I knew about my family. Inside was her adoption certificate from 2 months after the fire. It showed my parents got $55,000 for her. There was even a photo of my parents at the adoption agency signing papers, and they were both smiling like they just won a prize or something. I almost spit out my coffee. "They sold you?" I asked, and she nodded. "They needed the money for your college fund, apparently." On the paperwork, my mother had written, "The adoptive family must live at least 3 states away and agree to never contact us or bring the child back here. We cannot risk anyone we know seeing what she looks like now." Lori watched my face as I read it. I always thought they gave me up because they couldn't afford my medical bills, but really they were just embarrassed of how I looked. I went straight home and tore apart my parents' room while they were at work. In my dad's closet, I found a shoebox full of photos of Lori in the hospital wrapped in bandages like a tiny mummy. Her eyes were wide open, and she was clearly alive. One photo showed my mother standing 5 feet away from Lori's bed facing the wall, like she couldn't even look at her own daughter. Another one showed my father signing papers while a nurse held Lori. Her tiny bandaged arms were reaching out toward him like she wanted him to hold her. There were even receipts showing my parents bought a headstone and an empty casket. They had held a whole funeral for a child who was still alive in a hospital across town. At dinner, I threw the photos on the dining room table. My mother literally screamed, "Where did you get these?" Like I was the one who did something wrong. "Why would you tell me she died?" I yelled at them. My father slammed his fist down so hard the water glasses jumped and said, "She did die to us. That nasty thing in the hospital wasn't our daughter anymore." My mother jumped in. "Do you have any idea what its face looked like under those bandages? It looked like Freddy Krueger or something." She started ugly crying like she was the victim here. "Everyone would have stared at us everywhere we went," she continued. "We would have been the family with the ugly daughter, and you would have been the boy with the freak sister." My father nodded. "We did what was best for you. Imagine growing up with that as your sister." He actually said that instead of her, like Lori was some kind of creature. Then my mother said something that made me want to flip the table over. I threw up every single time I looked at it, and I couldn't stop gagging when they made me hold it. What was I supposed to do? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You are supposed to love your daughter no matter what she looks like." She shook her head. "That wasn't my daughter anymore. My daughter was beautiful." I went straight to my room to start packing because I couldn't spend another night under the same roof as those monsters. To make matters worse, Lori was currently dying. The fire had destroyed her lungs, and she had maybe 3 months left. My adoptive parents spent everything trying to save me, but the doctors always said this would happen eventually, she told me quietly. "I'm just glad I got to see my sister again before I died." She died 11 weeks later in a hospital I had never even heard of. When I called my parents about the funeral, my mom said, "Why would we care? We buried our daughter 15 years ago."